President, I rise to join my colleagues, first of all, in, yes, opposing this Green New Deal, this joint resolution that is full of so many dangerous policies and positions. But before I get into my reasons for that, let me also join my colleague from Wyoming in saying I'm for the things he's for, and even more. Carbon capture, utilization, and storage, refined coal, all kinds of ways that we can accomplish the same goals together with realistic proposals, not fantasies. But let me also say something that should warm the heart of our colleague from Massachusetts. The Koch brothers strongly opposed my candidacy and my election to the United States Senate. I owe them nothing, and I'm grateful. You know, I wasn't always this pessimistic about the possibilities in this chamber. I believe, in fact, that divided government presents an opportunity for the parties to come together, to find common ground, to have legislative victories based on shared goals and shared values. I hope we can get back to that. And I'd hoped, even in controversial things like immigration and health care, and I'd certainly hoped for it for energy policy. But when I heard the Democrats were proposing this Green New Deal, I didn't view it as an opportunity for political gamesmanship. I viewed it as an opportunity to find common ground, to compromise, to find balance, to negotiate the way that I believe our founders intended it. But I don't think killing innovators with something like a Green New Deal is how we accomplish the goals that they say they're for in their Green New Deal. You can imagine my disappointment when I read the contents of this joint resolution. The Green New Deal is not serious policy. It's a fantasy. And I'm personally disappointed to see so many of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle co-sponsor this, especially those that are seeking higher office, and ignore the realities. Well, you know, someone earlier mentioned that the Green New Deal never talks about airplanes. No, but it does say that we want to transition to a 100% renewable energy by 2030. Well, I don't know how you fly airplanes without having fossil fuels. Mr. President, as you may have seen, in my state of North Dakota, we're having a really, really cold winter. In fact, most of the upper Midwest is. We are having, you know, the National Weather Service referred to a stretch of this really cold weather earlier this winter as a polar vortex. We call it winter, polar vortex, whatever you want to call it. It's been a rough winter. Rough winters aren't rare or new to us, but this one's been particularly cold. Several days in a row, well below zero. In fact, one day, the wind chill during the polar vortex was well below 50 below. When I say, by the way, just for those of you from the south, 50 below is below zero. It's a really low number. But I believe that there are some facts that have been left out related to how this will affect human health. On January 1st, in North Dakota and Hettinger, it reached 42 below zero without wind chill. That's real temperature. And that's, again, happened in many communities throughout the state. And during these temperatures, guess what doesn't happen? The wind doesn't blow. And when the wind doesn't blow, windmills stop providing energy, and they actually start consuming it. When I was a regulator, I cited a couple thousand megawatts of wind turbines in North Dakota. But when the energy can't be produced by wind turbines, it turns to gas. And then guess what happens? Natural gas providers have to ask their customers to curtail their gas consumption because they need the gas for a more firm supply of electricity that backs up the wind turbines. Now, I was a utility regulator. I saw this happen a lot, and it happened just a couple of weeks ago in the Midwest. Can you imagine? When temperatures drop below a minus 22, wind turbines stop working. And that means that many North Dakotans, like my mom, like my grandchildren, have to rely on intermittent electricity to fill the gap caused by the cutbacks in gas. Do you see the cycle of this? It's a circle. One bad thing leads to another bad thing. In this situation, it's when, not if, but when an electric outage occurs during a polar vortex, it would be disastrous for the people of my state and many others. This is a serious health risk, and I do not want my friends and family to ever wonder if they'll be able to warm their home when they need it the most. But even if the Green Deal were to pass, we could never afford it. You've heard lots of testimony today from members about the expected cost of up to $93 trillion. And you can argue it's not 93, it's only 90, or it's only 80, or it's only 50. It's too much. It's unaffordable. It's more, 93 trillion is more than 90% of the combined wealth of all, I said all American households in this country. It would cost every American family as much as $65,000 per year, which is, as you know, more than the average yearly household income. A tax and spend agenda to pay for an energy plan that wouldn't even work flies in the face of one of our nation's greatest success stories, our domestic energy production. Mr. President, the U.S. rocket ship economy is being driven to a large degree by the energy renaissance happening all across our country in states like mine of North Dakota. Our strategy of energy dominance encompasses an all-of-the-above approach, harnessing wind and oil and natural gas and solar and nuclear and, yes, and coal potential. Millions of Americans are employed by energy development, and that number is only expected to grow. In 2020, the United States, in fact, will become a net energy exporter for the first time. At the same time, emissions have steadily decreased over the years, and it serves as a very important national security hedge. Mr. President, why would we halt this positive momentum and stymie promising solutions? The key to a better energy future is not taxation and regulation, but innovation and empowerment, as so beautifully articulated by my friend from Wyoming. If these recent polar vortexes and cold winters taught us anything, it's that we have a well-rounded energy policy that encourages the best ideas. We need to be pragmatic and collaborative to find solutions. That's not what defines this Green New Deal. It's unrealistic, unworkable, and unaffordable. And I hope we never become so lopsided that my friends, neighbors, and family back home are unable to turn the heat on when they need it the most.
Would my friend from North Dakota be willing to yield for a question? My friend from North Dakota be willing to yield for a question?
Senator from Arkansas.
Mr.